What? What's all this hullabaloo? Okay. Wildcat cartridges, the 6mm ARC and the 6mm Max. Because people keep bringing it up. Alright, no joke. I've had, since my 6mm ARC video came out a few weeks ago, I've had no less than a dozen people bring up the 6mm Max. The next big thing, there's always one. It's a new cartridge, okay, not even a new cartridge yet. It's a new concept for a cartridge from BC Precision Ballistics, which is a company I've not heard of before. This seems to have just kind of cropped up this year, 2023. Let's see, I'm on their website right now. So the 6mm Max, the big argument that people keep making to me, or the thing people keep telling me about, is that it's going to replace the 6 ARC because of the smaller bolt head size. It uses a standard 5.56 .378 bolt face versus the 6mm ARC, which uses a 6.5 Grendel bolt face, meaning the walls of the bolt face itself around the lugs are a little thinner than they are on a standard 5.56, and thereby equaling less strength and less blah 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 whatever. More likely to fail, more prone to failure. Personally, as somebody who has gone through thousands of rounds of 6.5 Grendel, 6mm ARC, I've never seen a bolt fail. The only bolts I've ever actually personally had fail in any of my rifles that I've built or used over the years, and this includes military time, were 5.56 bolts, standard bolts in a 5.56 or in a 224 Valkyrie. And the failures that I experienced personally were not with bolt lugs shearing off, but they were with the extractors breaking. So that's the most common thing that I've seen personally. I have seen other rifles where the bolt lugs were sheared off in hard use and stuff like that, but they were all 5.56. None of them were in the 6.5 Grendel or the 6 ARC. I have made several 6 ARCs for people, and I haven't had anybody have a bolt fail yet. I've made 6.5 Grendels, haven't seen a bolt failure yet. I know a lot of people in the industry that I'm friends with, that I've in my circles, that have used those two cartridges or similar, or the Russian 220 Russian over the years, and have not had bolt failures, not in sheared lugs. I'm not saying that the thin-walled bolt is not a problem, because it obviously is something that a lot of people in the industry have experienced with the thinner bolt walls in the Grendel or the ARC, sheared bolt lugs. That's, at the end of the day, that's what you're going to get out of it if it does fail. Theoretically, that's the argument everyone's making. So, entre the 6mm Max, which is, I won't say it's an entirely new concept, because there's things like the 6AR and stuff like that, other Wildcats out there that have kind of gone down similar trails before, trying to, fix a theoretical problem with the thinness of the walls. Which it's not really a theoretical problem. It's the science of metallurgy and mathematics. Thinner metal will break easier than thicker metal, especially in a high stress part like a bolt face. So it's a sound idea to want to have that added benefit of extra metal around that volatile part of the inner workings of a firearm. So the argument I've been getting, or the input I've been getting, is, hey, you got to look at this 6 Max, it's going to replace all the things. No. And here's why. This is a personal opinion, based off of the math that's on the 6 Max website, BC Precision Ballistics. I think it's an amazing concept for a cartridge. Let me just put that out there. I think it is an amazing concept for a cartridge because it does utilize a thicker bolt face, smaller bolt face, thicker bolt body, and gives you the 6mm projectile to play with in your AR. Great, wonderful. Love 6mm projectiles. They are an amazing addition to the AR platform. Here's the rub. From what I can tell on the website and any data that's available, because this is largely theoretical, it centralizes on using 100 grain or less projectiles. So they are going to be going a little faster than the 6 ARC. But they're smaller, less efficient, less ballistically aerodynamic. They have lower ballistic coefficients, lighter bullets. it's a varmint cartridge. That's about it. You could probably get away with some 95s and some decent velocity. They're showing on here. Let's see. I'm gonna read their website just so I'm not misrepresenting. Let's see. All right, based off the 350 Legend cartridge, the 6 Max is looking to produce 1,700 pounds of muzzle energy, which is awesome. It's a sound idea. It really is. All the way around on the face of it, it looks like a sound idea. It's around 55 grain to 100 grain bullets and vast array shooting disciplines from target to hunting. Holds 35 grains of water in the case capacity, whereas the 6 ARC is like 34 and a half, 34 I think. They limited their load data, it looks like, to 100 grain bullets or less, and this is where it will never keep up with the ARC. This is why. The 6mm ARC, developed by Hornady, was developed specifically for use in DMR style rifles, shooting heavy 4 caliber efficient bullets with an efficient case design, and efficient powder burn, shoulders, the whole 9 yards, for accuracy and distance, real distance. You can get out of, and this is a personal anecdotes here. I have shot the 6mm ARC out to 1,250 yards. That's the longest distance shot I've taken with it, in stiff winds on a 30-inch plate. And I was using 105 Burgers and 107 Sierra Match Kings, and I had consistent hits. I had one first round dope was off 6 inches low right at target, so I adjusted my dope because we were guessing with the range, because my rangefinder and the dust and the wind going on that day, I couldn't get past 1,000 yards, so we guessed it at 1,200. It ended up being 1,237, so my dope was just a little off. Corrected for 1235 on my second shot, and put the subsequent 8 shots with 2 different actual loads on round or on target at that distance. And this was off bipods in the dirt with no rear bags or rests or anything like that. Just, hey, there's a target, let's see if we can hit that sucker, because it's on the mountainside. We're here. The wind was gusting about 17 miles an hour straight across. It was dead on. It was like ridiculously so. 100 grain bullet wouldn't have made that. 85 grain, 95 grain, probably not. Even in a 6mm, which is an extremely efficient cartridge. So I would say, given all that experiences that I personally have, or other shooters that I know that use the 6 ARC in competition, or that I've built rifles for and stuff like that, I would say that the 6 Max is largely a solution where there's not actually a problem. It could give you an added benefit, but my main concerns with chasing wildcats, and I'm over it at this point in my life, I don't chase wildcats anymore. If a manufacturer's not making the ammo, I'm not interested. If the reloading components aren't being made by at least 1 or 2 of the major manufacturers out there, I'm not interested. I do believe it's a niche cartridge, the 6 Max, and could have a really good niche following, but I doubt it's going to get much beyond the wildcat phase. And this is just a personal opinion. I mean, mileage will vary for people. Some people may grasp onto this thing and absolutely love it because of that larger bolt body and smaller bolt face. The added benefit of the extra strength there metallurgically. But personally for me, if it's running less efficient bullets, even at higher velocities, it may be decent for varmint. I mean, definitely, like, looking at the math of it on the face of it, this would be a great varmint cartridge. Definitely something to replace a 5.56 with, or even the 224 Valkyrie. I mean, come on. The Valkyrie, I had all kinds of problems with the Valkyrie when it first came out. I had custom barrels made and everything. I spun up 6 or 7 custom barrels. I went through thousands of rounds, both factory, did reloading. I went through all the factory rounds available. And I had just wild problems getting it to be accurate. The velocities were great, but the accuracy was terrible in most cases. Until I started dialing in my own custom barrels with custom profiles, with custom twist rates and custom gas links. Then it worked great. And I actually have some really, really accurate rifles now in Valkyrie that will shoot lights out. But they lose a lot in velocity and distance and thump to the 6 ARC, and so it's relegated to a safe gun now for me, or a backup, or a varmint gun, or whatever. I think that 6mm Max is probably going to fall into a similar category for most people. Accuracy wise, who knows? It could be an extremely accurate cartridge. We will find out if it ever actually goes to press and people start putting these guns together and getting barrels made and stuff like that. And that's kind of the big sticking point for me with the Wildcats out there, especially Wildcats geared at replacing a cartridge that's already available. The 6mm arc isn't the most available cartridge anymore, but it is becoming more common. There are more manufacturers making stuff for it, more barrels being made, more parts being made. There's a lot of great bolt technology out there with metals and stuff like that, so you can get super reliable bolts, extremely strong. And there's more ammo becoming available too, which is a big part of the whole equation for me, is ammo, components, and parts. If I can't find all those, I'm not interested. Especially if it doesn't add anything or give me anything that's not already out there that is being done better, which when you look at the ballistic math of it, comparing apples to apples, the highest rated bullet you're going to get in the max, say 100 grain, and the highest rated bullet you can get in the arc, even at the differing velocities, maybe you get 50 to 100 feet per second more in the max, but the ballistic coefficient of a 107 compared to a 95 is massive. Even in the burgers, the VLDs, the VLT hunters and stuff like that, it's a big difference, enough of a difference to where past 600 or 700 yards, the max hasn't got a chance to keep up with the arc. It'll definitely outpace a 224 Valkyrie. It'll outpace a 5.56, no question. But the 6.5 Grendel is about what you're getting out of it, but with smaller bullet. Honestly, the math looks like you're getting a 6.5 Grendel, but with a way lighter and less useful bullet. In that case, I'd rather have the Grendel. If it's a hunting, if we're talking about hunting, like deer hunting and stuff like that, I'd rather have the Grendel over the math on this specifically right now, or the arc, because I can get some pretty decent velocities out of my arc, and I have deer hunted with it, and I trust those. I had the 108 burgers, they're absolutely just great thumpers within inside 200 or 300 yards. Put this in perspective of context of use too, because these smaller calibers like this, especially patterned for the AR style short, these are not big thumping bully wompers that you're going to be taking down elk with. That's not what these cartridges are for if you're using them in hunting context. They're like whitetail, antelope, that kind of thing. For me, my money's on the 6 arc. I think it's going to stick around for a long time to come. Could be wrong. Could be replaced by something like the 6mm max, but I think it would be a little bit of a stretch to say that the max is going to take this thing over. And one more note, I will say, I love cartridge innovation. I do. I love seeing people building their own companies, building their own rifles, building their own cartridges, and just trying to maximize and tune and just it's a beautiful enigma, because there's frustration like, oh my gosh, a new cartridge I got to try to keep up with. But I do love seeing innovation in cartridge design and in small time, small timers like this BC Precision Ballistics, I believe in Texas, LLC. I love seeing people like this put this stuff to the test, make something new and see if it works. You know what I mean? I will never get mad at anybody about doing that, or besmirch somebody trying to. So hats off to BC Precision Ballistics, huzzah, and to you, because if you can make this thing work, then you do have a bonus there with that bolt face situation. Right now it looks like the math is mostly being run, let's see here, with a 24-inch barrel, and 80 to 90 grain burgers, it looks like, and that's good math. If you're running a like say you're running a bolt gun, it's you can get some pretty decent math out of this thing in a bolt gun with a 24-inch barrel, and that's kind of the thing here that I'm looking at. Like, okay, but that's not what an AR is. That's not what it's for. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm still crunching this data here, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, yeah, it's intriguing. It is intriguing to me, and it is. Get some ammo manufacturers and some barrel makers on board with this, and I'll build one and try it. No question. I'll put it head to head with my arc any day, and I'll run them till they break. While the concept is sound, and I get where they're going with the bolt head and all that stuff, I don't know. I'm on the fence about this. And what do y'all think? Y'all let me know down below. Everybody's got their own opinion. Everybody's got their own experiences. The math doesn't lie, though. When you start putting math on paper, it'll be interesting to see where the 6 Max goes, and if it even has legs to come close to the 6 Arc. I don't think it's going to, just on paper. I've been wrong before. Y'all have a good day. Be blessed. Merry Christmas.